Hello, everybody. This is Alia Jamal, the love coach, and we are meeting for another love circle. Today, we are talking about empowering self-talk. Now, first, even look into what is self-talk. It's a conversation that's happening inside of us. The things you're saying to yourself in your mind without even verbalizing it. And sometimes we start verbalizing it without even realizing what we are saying to ourselves. So it's that inner dialogue that just keeps going on for your whole day. Why it's so important? It creates your inner environment. How you're feeling right now is directly related to what you're saying to yourself inside of your head, inside of your body, however you connect with that inner world. Whatever you're saying to yourself result into how you're feeling at any given moment. So that's why it's very, very powerful. And that's why it's very, very important that we do have more more awareness around what we are saying to yourself, how we are talking. So we're going to look at three things. We're going to become aware of this inner conversation that is going on and start paying more attention to it. We'll talk about that. And we're going to learn where it's coming from, whose voice is it, where did you pick up those things. And the third thing we're going to learn is how to talk to ourselves, how to even know what I'm supposed to say to myself. Because if we don't have a good role model of, what healthy inner talk would be, if your mom or if the woman around you, they talk to themselves in such a negative way, without them ever telling you, you picked up on their energy signal and you started talking to yourself that way. Now, the men around you are just as more impactful on you as well as the woman. I'm just gonna see, okay. Just see if, okay. So first, let's get into just becoming aware of what's going on inside of you. If you look inward, how are you feeling right now? Take a moment, close your eyes. How are you feeling right now? Are you feeling excited? Are you feeling joyful? How are you feeling right now? That is how you start to get in touch with what's going on here. If right now you don't even know what's going on inside of you, you can't even connect with that feeling, that means you're not even aware of your own inner world, and there is a disconnect. So let's close our eyes. I'm just going to check in with myself too. Put your hand on your heart. It opens your heart. It gives you access to your inner world. How are you feeling inside right now? Oh, I sense a little bit of tension in my body somewhere, maybe has to do with I haven't cooked lunch yet. I see my legs are a little stiff, maybe haven't walked that much or stretched them. And how I'm feeling inside, there's a little bit of stillness I'm feeling, and then there's a little bit of not very still. So that is related to what I'm saying to myself. So I was also able to pick up, I'm telling myself the lunch is not cooked and this needs to be done and this needs to be done. That is all part of self-talk. When we feel so anxious and overwhelmed, it's the way we are talking to ourselves. And we are going to change that today. Generally, our self-talk is based on self-criticism, worry, fear, self-pity. When we start to feel down on ourselves, we are like, what's wrong with you? Why can't you do this? All of a sudden, we feel the energy drop. Whatever words or thoughts that you are letting into your own mind, into your own psychology, they carry very specific frequency. If I am thinking a thought that has criticism attached to it, I am on a lower plane. If I'm thinking of a thought that has praise or gratitude attached to it, it's going to be of a higher frequency. So when I am talking to myself, when I'm saying, thank you so much, Alia, for doing all that you do. Thank you so much for showing up for me. Thank you so much for putting this effort. When I'm just praising myself that way, I am thinking higher quality thoughts. I am thinking higher frequency thought. My energy feels higher. So that day, I am not going to feel very tired. On days we feel very tired, our internal conversation is disempowering. It's worry. It's anxiousness about what's going to happen tomorrow. Usually you might have experienced when we are about to travel, because we are so focused on, will I get on the airport on time? Will I pack everything? That's what conversation is going on. You get to the airport tired. So by becoming aware of our own inner environment, by mastering our own inner conversation with ourselves, we can actually stay very energized. That is the trick that I use on most days. And when I really feel tired, I just go ahead and take a nap. That means my mind really need to rest and sleep. That means something so big is going on that staying aware, trying to manipulate is not really helping. So I'm just going to take a nap. But the first thing is becoming aware. So we're going to jump into that. The first thing we have to do is we have to become aware of our inner conversation. We have thousands of thoughts going on in our mind throughout the whole day. And most of them, and when I say most of them, like, 90% or 95, or some people say even 99% are same. We think same thoughts every single day. The general worries about the day, they all are similar. They all drain our energy every single day the same way. How do you even become aware of your thoughts? You ask yourself, what am I saying to myself right now? What am I thinking right now? And then just pay attention, you will start to become aware. And it's so interesting when you start to become aware of your thoughts. It's almost like, the thoughts stop too. They're like, somebody's watching. It's almost like when toddlers, they're just playing, and then somebody walks into the room, they all are like paused. What are you doing here? Just leave, so we can do whatever crazy things we were doing, maybe rubbing slime on each other, whatever they were doing. That's how you're going to feel. All of a sudden your mind is going to go blank, but then you ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? What am I saying to myself right now? If you're having a very overwhelming day, you're worried, just pause and ask yourself, what am I saying to myself right now? That is going to take us right into the second part, where and who it comes from. Every single thing that you think, that you say to yourself, most of the time, you learned it in this lifetime while you came in this body. That is not soul talking. So whatever you're telling yourself, someone told it to you, you heard somebody tell it to somebody else. We are sponges, we absorbed it. And if it doesn't belong to us, it doesn't belong to our soul path, we're not supposed to have it. It's living on our energy field. So when you do catch yourself, what am I thinking? What am I saying to myself? If let's say you're telling yourself in your mind, you're so stupid, you can never get anything right, what's wrong with you? Why are you still stuck here? Why are you still making the same mistake? If that is what your inner conversation is going on, which is very disempowering, ask yourself, who used to talk like this to you, to someone else? Where is it coming from? And just a little recap here to something that we have talked about before. At any given time, there's three voices in our head. One is voice of fear. Fear could be biological or psychological. If it's a biological fear, you should be running and saving your life. If it's psychological, we have to go really deep and try to find those lies. Second kind of voice that we have in our mind is voice of other people. What my mom said, what my dad said, what my sister said, what did I watch on the TV last night, what was in the news. all those things just occupy this space right here. What someone else might say. I find myself at this point more thoughts what someone might say if I say this or if I do this. My mind tries to go into the future and try to, like, create all kind of scenarios. That is what I discover most of the time. I bring myself back into this moment, which is going to stay here. But that happens when we become aware of what's actually going on in here. The third voice is voice of our soul. Ideally, we are supposed to focus only on the voice of our soul, understand the others. They are not going to go away, but we don't have to feed them our life force. I don't have to focus on what my mom would say, what my old neighbor would say. I don't have to focus on that. If in all that, think of it, if there is a smoky cloud in front of you, right? If there's a smoky cloud in front of you and you just want to focus on one point, what is my soul saying to me right now? That is what our focus is supposed to be. When we stay focused on what my soul is saying right now, you stay very energized because in that moment, you are plugged into your higher self. You're not plugged into the illusion that we live with, the worries that we live with, the fears that we live with. So first you become aware, ask yourself, where is it coming from? Again, we are all doing, like, the awareness work here. What is it saying? Where it's coming from? Because the most important thing to recognize it's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. Don't try to hold on to the energy or the way your mom used to think or your sister used to think or your teacher used to think. We have to discover what I want to say to myself, how I want to talk to me, not how someone else talked to me, how I want to talk to me. This relationship between me and me has to become stronger if I want to feel empowered and energized at all times. When we don't believe in ourselves, when that belief has not matured and that confidence has not matured, we do need someone to say things to us so we can hold on or hooked on to their energy. But that cannot be our way to live. I remember at one point, I asked my ex-husband, now ex-husband, husband at that time, when I was just getting into becoming a coach, and my dream was to have a full-time business at some point, but I had a full-time job at that time. And I asked him, of course, my belief in myself wasn't nearly where it is today, or the confidence. So I asked him, because that person was very important to me, I said, can you say to me that I can do anything? Can you say that to me? I needed that energy from someone else. I recorded that message. I listened to that message every time. The voices will just get too big for me to handle because my soul was pulling me somewhere and these voices were stopping me. So it was very helpful in that moment. But can I live like that for the rest of my life? No. Because then a point came when I am taking a decision or doing something that that person doesn't like. Of course, they're gonna, like, I cannot depend on their belief. So then what do? Do I go and find another person and then take their energy? No. The solution is I need to connect with my energy, my soul's energy. My deeper wisdom comes from there. That is what my North Star is going to be. That is what my real guidance is going to be. So all the thoughts that you're hearing, all the voices that you hear, all the conversations you have with yourself, we need to drop all of that. I do an audit of my inner conversation on regular basis. And I ask myself, whose voice is that? Who's saying that? Bringing questions and curiosity into your inner world is going to be life-changing, transformational, and full of surprises as well. Sometimes I'm able to find some stuff that I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea. I picked it up from that person and it's been lingering with me. It does require a lot of honesty and also knowing that we are very flexible. We can transform and change. We can change our internal dialogue. So if you've been talking to yourself like your mother, that needs to stop. We cannot continue talking to ourselves like our mom, because that's not your soul. Your mom is not your soul. Your soul knows what you need. We need to talk to ourselves the way our soul would talk. So now let's create that. How are we going to talk to ourselves? So I'm going to share a story with you guys. So imagine now, if it's a woman or a man listening to it, imagine whoever you would like to be with. If it's a woman listening and you want to be with another woman, or you want to be with another man, pick and choose. I'm going to go with, there is this woman, right? And she met a guy, and she really liked this guy. The guy is, all the things that she ever wanted on her checklist. He checks like 10 out of 10 qualities she's looking for. And she really wants to spend rest of her life with this man. She wants to build her family with him, and she wants to, build their home with him. She sees him and she is already in love. And now they are meeting. They are meeting on a regular basis, and they are having conversations. Think of how she's going to talk to him. Is she going to talk to him? Something is wrong with you. You're so stupid. You need to change this and that about you. If she's already so in love with this man, how she's going to talk to him? He's perfect. He checks 10 out of 10. There's nothing wrong with it. So how she's going to talk to him? She's going to say, you're wonderful. You're perfect. You're amazing. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just perfect the way you are. How she's going to think about him. Let's say, when they are not together and she's thinking about this man, we are just going to stay with this feeling when we just start the relationship. We're not talking about when they have lived 20 years together and they have 4 kids, and now, they have to pay the mortgage and they both have to work. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the phase when she's just falling in love with him. How she's thinking about him. She's daydreaming. When she's away from him, she's thinking about, oh, when I'm gonna see him, and she's thinking about how wonderful he is, what brilliant qualities he have, how blessed I am to have a lover like that in my life, right? Those are the thoughts. She's not thinking about, why does he twist his nose this way when he's talk. She's not thinking about that, because she is in that phase of pure love. He's ideal, checks all the boxes. So she's thinking like that about him as well. Now, that feeling, that is the feeling you're going to bring for yourself. So we start this section with who you are to yourself. Who are you to yourself? Be that ideal lover that you just found. And now, for rest of your life, maintain this feeling. You know how older people who have lived 60 years together or something, if you ask them, they will say, relationship is something that requires everyday work, and once you work on it every single day, then you can put up with the other person for rest of your life. You are the only person who are going to be with you guaranteed till you die. Every other person has the possibility or probability to leave you or die before you or move away from you, including your kids, including your current spouse, including whoever you think that person is. You are the only person you're gonna be with for the rest of your life. So this feeling of that new romance, that is how you will see yourself. And the empowering self-talk will have to come from that energy. That is where you can become honest, compassionate, and loving with yourself. So from today onward, look at yourself. Like even whenever you're listening to this, look at yourself in the mirror and find that feeling in your eyes where you're so in love with who you are. And then talk to yourself from that place. If your level of self-love or unconditional self-love is not there yet, that's okay. Then think of this feeling. Maybe the first time you fell in love, let's say you never fall in love, you're too young to be in love, or whatever the scenario is, you haven't found that person. Watch a movie, watch a Hallmark movie. They are full of this kind of stuff. And then grasp that feeling that the couple have the very first time you can see they're falling in love. Grasp that feeling. Every human can reach to that feeling because it's just a feeling, because we all daydream about it. We all dream about falling in love with somebody that we are going to love. They are going to love us. We both will be perfect for each other. Find that feeling. Look at yourself with that feeling, and then filter every word that you speak, every thought that you think about yourself, just with that filter. We are making it that easy. So if right now you're used to telling yourself what's wrong with you, when will you get to the point where we are trying to go? Pause and look at yourself with that feeling of newfound romance and joy and love. And then talk to yourself. It might feel a little fake or weird in the beginning because you're not used to doing that to yourself. You're not used to giving yourself such a high status in your life. You treat yourself as the lowest person in your mind, in your internal mind, and you're not used to giving yourself such a high status of, like, somebody you just met who's perfect to get married to or spend rest of your life with. Just connect with the feeling. Just connect with that feeling and work on it every single day. It's not going to happen overnight, but when you will start to filter your everyday conversation with yourself, whether it's inside of you or whether it's outside of you, start to filter it a little by little every single day. In just 7 days, your inner environment would be different. You're going to feel less exhausted. You're going to feel more energized. You're going to feel more in love with yourself. You're going to feel like you can do anything, because what's happening? You're connecting with your inner power. You're connecting with the soul. The soul looks at the body with so much love, with so much gratitude. And that bond, like, that soul decided to come in this body, that soul chose this body, that bond is very strong, very, very strong. And that soul is living in the body for like X amount of years, and then it's leaving the body. There is a connection of gratitude and love that already exists from the other side. Now, think of it this way: your soul is always halfway here. Now we need to come and meet with it halfway and create that permanent connection. Start looking at yourself with those googly eyes that you might look at with the person that you fall in love with a big smile, and then start talking to yourself from the same place, from the same energy. And again, when you feel like you're falling down, and 1 hour you did really good, and on the second hour you're like, I'm not treating you so good, you're so lazy, you're this and that. When you get there, bring yourself back up. Connect with that feeling again. We are building new neurons in our brain, literally, when we do this, because you're used to being one way with yourself. And that gotta go, because it's creating a lot of internal toxins within you, energetically and physically. We're not just making up this stuff. Energetically and physically, it creates toxins. We are shifting that. It's not going to be piece of cake. It's going to require determination. Your brain is going to rebel it. Your brain would be like, what? We have this highway, just go from here. Why are you trying to carve another one? By treating yourself in a different way. The first one is much easier. It's already there. There is going to be that resistance. And that is the work that you're going to do. But once you get on the other side, when you do have that fully nicely paved road where you talk to yourself as you are the love of your life, the fruit of that are way sweeter than the work that you're going to do. But trust me, when you do it, you do enjoy the benefit that comes out of it. So just to recap, we are talking about empowering inner talk. Generally, we criticize ourselves because that's how we have learned to connect with ourselves. What I am suggesting is talk to yourself as you are love of your life. Always stay in that energy. Renew that energy every single day. Renew the energy multiple times in the day. I renew that energy first thing when I wake up in the morning. I take a couple of minutes to thank myself at the end of the day, and then I go to sleep. That works for me. It might work for you, it might not work for you. You might have to do it midday. That's when you are, calm enough or you're less busy that you can do it. Do whatever works for you. But talk to yourself as you are the love of your life. That is the filter that we are using. And you will see miracles happening. Most of the people that I work with, or the chunk of the work that I do, is women who are very criticizing towards themselves, and it leads to issues in the GI tract. Because what's happening, that constant nagging yourself is creating lower vibration in your energy body, and it does start to suck energy from your solar plexus chakra. Now your organs are not getting enough energy and they are getting sick because they don't have access to that energy. That's how we can be very toxic to ourselves. But when you treat yourself in your thoughts, in your words, whether they are spoken or not spoken, you treat yourself like the love of your life, everything changes. Everything changes. You feel so energized. You feel so loved. That is when you feel empowered enough to do anything that you want to do in your life. So that is all for today. If this is the work that you want to go deeper into, I would love to be your guide. Find me, send me a DM if you're watching a random YouTube video. You can just Google Alia the Love Coach and you'll find me. And one thing that I can leave you with is, again, this: you are the only person you're going to live with every single day for the rest of your life. Make sure that relationship is the most loving relationship. That is all. Sending you all love. See you all next Thursday. Bye.